We were all here for this live sweat. Here's for moments like this. And we didn't come this far just to come this far. You with me?
Welcome to the Panic Show.
Magic from Michigan. The Huskies are headed to Houston.
We're going to the natty, man.
And the Michigan Wolverines have done it. It's all roses for Michigan.
I see you in Houston. Living the moment that every single kid dreams of.
They're on the grand stage in college football.
Here at NRG Stadium in beautiful Houston, Texas. It's been a little rainy, a little tornado-y, but it all comes down to this. The college football season will end tonight. It's a little like, you know, the most, I would say, beloved team in this Washington team in the country, taking on what some people would say is the most hated team in the country. I like that guy. He's from Tampa. Shout out Tampa. That's where I'm from. All right, so this Michigan team beat the odds in a controversial way, but the play on the field obviously never wavered. And Washington, a final push from the Pac-12 with everyone's favorite quarterback leading the way. We got Penix, McCarthy, Washington, Michigan. That guy will be here. Jim Harbaugh. Will he be in the college football playoff next season? Most likely not. Maybe. He might be at the next level. We'll see. We'll talk about it all right here. Welcome to Countdown to the College Football Playoff Championship presented by AT&T. The guy showed up today. Harry Lyles and Harry Douglas in blue.
Hey, you know
a
what?
double-breasted suit over here.
That blue just does something different to the mind. It really does, Christine.
Yeah,
It really
not
do.
Michigan blue, though. Not Michigan blue. Don't get it confused. I'm Christine Williamson, by the way. You guys excited to be here? Excited about this matchup? What are we looking forward to?
Everything. I mean, this is a matchup of two of the biggest storylines, right? I mean, this is a team that we thought at the end of last season could be here.
Yeah.
And then honestly, to me, Washington almost feels like they're finishing a path that Tennessee tried to create last year as one of the stories of college football. And here they are, and we're going to get a new champion tonight.
I think when you look at Washington and the Pac-12 is no longer upon us after this season, they have an opportunity to really make a mark leaving the Pac-12. For Michigan, a lot of adversity faced this year. The team was able to stay together internally. One band, one sound. Everything they did, they moved together in unison. So we're here right now. Both teams deserve to be here at the moment.
Hey, they know how to follow them signs, don't they?
What you
I said, hey, a team that sticks with their signs, they're going to follow them things to victory, baby.
Yeah, they know how to do that. I don't know if you guys heard it, but the fans getting a little riled up because Michigan came out on the field, so everybody's kind of pouring in as they get ready for this matchup. But this is only the fourth time that number 1 and number 2 have taken on each other in the national championship. We're going to talk about the other three times that happens, and guess what, guys? Clemson was there.
Uh-oh.
Okay, all right.
Let's start in 2016. This is the first of 3 Bama Clemson title games. Back in 2016, number 2 Alabama ruined a 40-yard, 4-touchdown game from Deshaun Watson, and number 1 Clemson.
There you go.
Derrick Henry had 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. O.J. Howard, 208 yards and 2 tutties. The Tide upset the Tigers 45-40. Now, in 2017, the following year, Watson and the Tigers got their revenge. 420 yards passing, 4 total touchdowns for Deshaun Watson as Clemson came back from a 24-14 hole to score 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and win 35-31 on a last-second Hunter Renfrow touchdown. Then in 2019, number 1 Alabama versus number 2 Clemson, and this one was all Clemson. The freshman Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, 347 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Clemson scored first and then kept on going. 6 total touchdowns for the Tigers as they rolled the Tide. It was 44-16. So the number 1 team has only won the playoff 3 times, but those 3 wins have happened in the last 3 of the last 4 years. So the biggest question leading into this 1 versus 2 matchup is Washington running back Dillon Johnson. We saw him go down against Texas. He was carted off to end the game. He's going to give it a go today. That's his quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. Lyles, if he's not able to be himself, how does that impact this Washington offense?
It definitely impacts it. Look, like early on in the season when this team was at full strength, he only accounted for 13% of their scrimmage yards. Now, when Jalen McMillan went out, he up that number, and it was 32%. I still think they have so many weapons on offense. They're going to force you to guard everybody. So the fact that he's even going to be out there and trying to play, I think, is good. But I do think that injury is probably a little bit worse than they've let on. But hey, man, he's just got to last 4 quarters today. I think he can do it.
Yeah, it's a national championship. He obviously wants to be out there to help his team get a dub. We obviously were all at the game last week, and you got to watch it up close and personal. You saw Michael Penix Jr. up close. What stood out to you about him on the field?
Specifically for me, it's 3 things. The number 1 thing, in my opinion, with Michael Penix Jr. is his football intelligence, his football IQ. They had a play early on in that ball game where he had 2 receivers stacked to the right side of the formation. One guy had a deep corner route about 25, 30 yards. The other one about 15 to 20 yards. And then he had a running back, Dillon Johnson, that was in the flat for about a 4-yard gain. Well, the defense won that rep. Michael Penix Jr. didn't force the ball down the field, threw it to the flat, 9-yard gain. Now they're ahead of the chains. The second thing is the awareness. And what do I mean by that? Pocket awareness. Being able to feel guys coming towards him from unblocked defenders, but maneuver in the pocket, keeping his eyes down the football field, delivering strikes where only his guys, his wide receivers and tight ends can make the play. And then last but not least, the athleticism. I don't think people gives Michael Penix Jr. credit for his athleticism, the way he's able to maneuver and move around. He had 3 huge runs in that game, 3 carries, 31 yards that were pivotal for that offense. So those are the 3 things with Michael Penix Jr. for me. I love this young man, one of my favorite players in college football. I met his grandmother last week going into the stadium. She told me, you going to put my baby on Get Up on that boy band? I said, if he ball out, he going to be on that boy band. But guess what, last week? Michael Penix Jr. was on that boy band because he had 430 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in the semifinals at the Sugar Bowl.
So I actually got to hang out with his entire family last night. I didn't do it on purpose, but his dad's best friend came up to me, said he likes watching our shows, etc. And then I was like, oh, I actually have I made a friendship bracelet at the ESPN party, and it says Big Penix Energy on it. So I was like, oh, I love him. I love that guy. And literally, he was like, come show his entire family. His family's great. His grandmother was there. It was a great time.
There's nothing wrong with energy.
For sure. Also, as I mentioned, I'm from Tampa, so you know, we love our Tampa people. Okay, so we are not here by ourselves. There's another set that's a little higher than us, you know, all the way up next to the ceiling. We got Sam Rabbits, what's going on? All the way up there.
Hi, Christine. Yeah, we'll peel the curtain back a little bit here. I'm up here, Matt Sims, Scoot Mageza. We are a Matt Sims laser away to Harry Douglas from you guys.
We are on the moon right now, my friend. We're not making that throw.
We are up in the 700 levels right now. We will get it back down to you guys in just a bit. But, guys, happy National Championship Day. I mean, we are here. We've been waiting all season long. This is what we've been waiting for. We heard the guys down there talking about Dillon Johnson and, you know, his health. Obviously, Michael Penix Jr., huge storylines in this one, right? You have your eyes on the offensive and defensive lines, though. Why is that, Matty?
That's where championship football is won, is in the trenches. This Michigan defensive line, the depth that they have, and I'm even going to include those talented linebackers they have, right? Junior Colson, Michael Barrett, those guys getting involved in that pass rush, too. It gave Jalen Milroe a problem in that Rose Bowl game. I expect Michigan to be extra aggressive again here today against Michael Penix and try to collapse the pocket as much as possible, make their presence feel known, and make them feel uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, man. I love that you said that because they blitzed that man Jalen Milroe 17 times last week. And I love, you got to think about this Washington offensive line. Back-to-back weeks, they are seeing the toughest interiors in college football. They had Murphy last week, and they had to deal with Sweat last week. First and second round guys in the NFL. They will be playing on Sundays, y'all.
That's right.
That's going to be a fun matchup to watch, but I really am excited for that matchup in the backfield. We're talking about Rome Odunze and Will Johnson. Rome Odunze is a big physical dude, y'all. 6'3", 215 pounds. Will Johnson, 6'2", over 200 pounds. So that matchup in the defensive backfield with those two going head-to-head, it's strength on strength. And keep in mind, if it's going to be physical in the defensive backfield, this officiating crew has called the most pass interference calls in college football. So if y'all see a lot of pass interference calls today, you know why. 2 physical guys and an officiating crew that likes to call it.
And the coaches will not like that. And speaking of coaches, we spent a lot of time last week out in Pasadena talking about the coaching edge in the game. Jim Harbaugh, of course, in this one, and Washington with Kalen DeBoer has been an amazing story. Matty, who do you give the edge to on the coaching side?
Man, this is a tough one. We know how good Harbaugh is, but, you know, Kalen DeBoer, he is actually a champion. You know, and yeah, I said it. That's some real stuff right there. You know, we know that Jim Harbaugh, what he's done and how he can create, you know, organizations from the ground up and rebuild them that way. But Kalen DeBoer, he is a proven commodity. He has won championships, and this dude feels extremely comfortable.
Yeah, I got to be right there with you when it comes down to the head coach. It's got to be Kalen DeBoer. Washington won 10 straight games to end the season by 7 points or less. No team in college football has done that. And then when I look at the assistant coaches, I'm going to go ahead and give that to Michigan because Sharon Moore put on a clinic, and I feel like they outcoached Alabama last week. And then you got to think towards the end of the season, those games against Penn State and Ohio State, Sharon Moore was the head coach without Jim Harbaugh. They know how to get the group right, especially Moore.
Storylines abound in this one, no question about it. We are leading you up to the national championship between Michigan and Washington. The best part about this, guys, is that oftentimes at these big events, we have big-time names and big-time guests. And down at our other set, we have another big-time guest. Christine, over to you.
Oh, yeah. Before we get to that big-time guest, you can see J.J. McCarthy. Oh, just kidding. He is warming up. You know, he likes to meditate before games. I thought we were going to see him, but now Chad Henne is here, so never mind. We got Chad Henne on the set. We're going to talk a little bit about the fact that Coach Harbaugh said something very interesting about his quarterback. Do we have that sound? I just want to make sure before I toss to it. We have the sound? No sound. Okay, so let's listen to what Harbaugh had to say about his quarterback really fast.
I think the last quarterback to win in overtime against Alabama was none other than Tom Brady. And you know, I've said it before, but this is right here. This is the greatest quarterback in University of Michigan football, college football history. Got a long way to go to get to get where Tom Brady eventually got to, which is the GOAT. I mean, he's lapped the field when it comes to that. But in a college career, there's been nobody at Michigan better than JJ. And I know we talk about an amalgamation of quarterbacks. He is that guy.
Okay, so who are JJ's Michigan GOAT peers? We're going to take a look at that right now really fast, starting with Rick Leach, who often gets named as the best. He played 4 years in the mid-'70s, and he set and broke all kinds of Michigan and NCAA records. Now, Leach won 3 straight Big Ten championships and had 38 wins as a starter. This is very old footage here. We're going to go a little bit ahead and talk about the next quarterback, which is Chad Henne, 2004 to 07, another Michigan great, of course. Only the second quarterback to start as a freshman at Michigan. Started all 4 years and picked up 32 wins, 1 Big Ten championship, and holds the Michigan records for passing yards and touchdowns. Now, we know this next guy very well. He is very bad. Next guy, Tom Brady. You can't talk about GOATs without mentioning him. He has all the NFL accolades, and in 2 years as a starter at Michigan, he won 1 Big Ten championship and was the backup for the 1997 championship team, but only 10th all-time in passing yards for Michigan. So, in response to Harbaugh's claim that JJ was GOATed amongst all quarterbacks, Tom Brady actually chimed in, and he said, "Go Blue, no doubt." A little surprising. Okay, so now we re-welcome in Chad Henne because obviously you're a part of that list. Now, knowing that, I mean, you see what Tom Brady said. Do you agree with Coach Harbaugh and that J.J. McCarthy is GOATed amongst all quarterbacks to come through that program?
Absolutely. I mean, 26-1 as a starting quarterback at the University of Michigan. You can't regret that. I mean, stats, yeah, he would be there if he stays the next year. But 26-1 in a national championship, you got to regard him as one of the best.
Now, let me say this, because this young man standing beside me, the class of 2008 NFL draft class, it's an honor to be here with you, man. A lot of us, we don't get together as much, so when we get to see each other, it's a thing of beauty. But your Michigan Wolverines are right here playing in the national championship. What would it mean to that university and also yourself for them to actually win that game tonight and bring it back to Ann Arbor?
Oh, absolutely everything. I mean, since 1997 is the last time Michigan has made it to the national championship and won. So to say, you know, what is it, 23, 20-some, I don't know, 16 years. To get in 2023, 2024, yeah, it means everything. And to have a team like we do, a coaching staff, everything, adversity that we've been through, Coach Harbaugh's stat, everything that we've been through from Michigan, the players that we have, it's just unbelievable atmosphere. And I hope we get it done tonight.
And obviously, with this Michigan team, everybody views them differently. A lot of people want to just make them the biggest villain. They will criticize the offense in certain ways, the defense in certain ways. In your eyes, as somebody that has been able to watch this team realistically, what is your viewpoint of this team? How will you remember this team, and how do you feel like that helps them tonight as well?
I mean, they're just a resilient group. I mean, coaching staff, player staff, they just keep going. No matter what phases them, they just go out and play football. And you show Alabama, we get into the overtime, and we just show what we can do. We got a great running game, a great defense. We got to slow, obviously, Washington down with their offense, but I think we have the defense to slow them down, and hopefully we can control the ball as well.
I do want to ask you really quickly because there has been this Michigan versus everybody mindset throughout this entire season. Can you explain to us what that really is when it comes to the culture at Michigan?
Yeah, I just think anybody we play, we're out there to just dominate them. And obviously the Big Ten doesn't get its credit. Obviously SEC, is the major powerhouse, and let it be. They have a great program, a great conference in what they do, but we believe as a Big Ten conference we can compete with anybody, and Michigan can compete with anybody. We beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, which shows something, and now we're in the national championship. Now we got to prove ourselves to say that we're the best program in the country.
Well, I think the best way to finish this, though, Christine, I say go, you say what?
Blue.
Okay.
There you go.
Sounds like Chad's ready.
One guy that they're definitely going to need tonight is their running back, Blake Corum. We've seen him get bloody, and he is almost impossible to take down in the red zone. Take a look at this.
Back the other direction. Blake fighting for the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverines.
Best attribute of the goal line is finding the way to get it. Jumping over the line, finding a tiny crease and getting skinny in it, ultimately bouncing it outside.
Never feels like he's arrived. Every single thing he's working on, he's perfected to that point where you give him the ball, he's going to score. The most dangerous parts of him just not knowing what crease he can hit, because he can hit any little crease at any moment.
He just doesn't want to be stopped and can't be stopped. He just knows every time he touches the rock, he's going to get in there.
All right, we are now We are now joined by longtime Michigan insider Sam Webb as we get ready for the national championship taking place in a little over 42 minutes. We're counting you down for that one. Sam, we just had a little conversation about J.J. McCarthy with Chad Henne, because we all heard, of course, what Harbaugh said. We all heard what Harbaugh said earlier. We all heard what Harbaugh said earlier about his quarterback, that he's one of the most goated ones, or the most goated one in program history. Do you agree with that?
Okay. No. But he can leave the best legacy. He can leave the best legacy. I think if he does what I think he can do tonight, he'll leave with the most decorated record, for sure. I think he's trying to think, because Jim did a lot. Jim is the top right now. He has a chance. I don't think he's it right now. He gets this, he'll have something no other quarterback has, and other than Greasy, and he's better than Greasy. So he could have it at the end of the night.
So when you look at the Michigan Wolverines and their program history, they have a history of phenomenal running backs. You look at Blake Corum right now, 56 total rushing touchdowns throughout his career, 25 right now. Where would you rank Blake Corum amongst those Michigan running backs?
So listen, the best running back I've ever seen at Michigan is Tyrone Wheatley. Shout out to Wheat, Wayne State, T. Wheat. 30 years ago on this stage, rushed for over 200 yards. He had a phenomenal game. But Blake Corum, it's the same thing with JJ. Legacy, man. You got a chance, legacy-wise, to do something none of these other guys have done. He came back. He could have gone to the league. And he came back, put it on the line, put that pro career on the shelf to come back and do this. That legacy puts you on top. So much like I said with JJ, and that's what you get caught up in, man. Talent-wise, I can point to some guys who were better. But legacy-wise, no. He'll be the top if he gets this done tonight.
And one of the big storylines, obviously, with this game is the future of Jim Harbaugh. out of all the times that we've heard rumors with him going to the NFL, what, if anything, about this year feels different to you?
Yeah, man. So back in 21, he pursued Minnesota. Like, that was different. Last year, they pursued him. Denver made a run. He said no. The owner flies to town. He said no again. This year, I think what he said is, I will entertain overtures, but I won't seek it. It's like last year, but I think he's casting the line out there a little more. There was an NFL.com report that said 10 years, $125 million on the table. That's not true. That report is not true. But somebody floated it, and it came from the NFL. So if that's coming from the NFL, if it's floated in those circles, then it's telling me that somebody is putting that out there for a reason. I think he put it out, or someone on that side of things put it out there for a reason to set the bar for the NFL. This is what it's going to take for me to come, $12.5 million, and give me some control over front office decisions, and maybe we can talk.
I do want to ask you, because this has been a very unique season for Michigan. We were just talking about Michigan versus everybody. What has it been like covering this Michigan team this season?
Yeah, it's different. You don't get a feel for what it means, what a locker room, what that camaraderie and togetherness really means unless you get on a team. But then you see a team like this and you realize everything that you thought about what a strong locker room is probably was understated. Because this is the strongest locker room I've ever seen. All the adversity that they've had to deal with this season, from your coach being out to them saying you cheated and undermined everything that you've accomplished on the football field with trivial stuff, saying that you used signs to beat teams you would have destroyed by 3 touchdowns anyway, right? So I think that this team is a textbook case of camaraderie and togetherness in a locker room, and that's what Michigan versus everybody is coming to symbolize.
So in order for Michigan to win tonight, they must do what?
Yeah, man. So great question, Harry. Everyone's talking about this offense and how explosive it is, and rightfully so. But Michigan has seen an offense like this before. Like, you go back to Ohio State the last few years, especially the one in 21, you got C.J. Stroud, you got Olave, you got Jackson Smith and Jigba, you got Garrett Wilson on that side, and Marvin Harrison's a freshman on that team. What did Michigan do? They mixed coverages, they dominated the line of scrimmage, and they ran the football. You don't do what Michigan did to Ohio State. You don't do what they're going to try to do tonight to try to slow that team down without running the football. So that's a key stat. How many rushing yards they can get to keep that offense off the field a little more and help your defense out. Complimentary football.
Well, damn, it sounds like you ready.
Hey, man.
I feel you, baby.
I just know what the formula is. I know what the formula is.
Okay, so you know the formula. Do you think they're going to be able to get it done tonight?
I do. Listen, I study film every week with a couple of coordinators, one of them being Vance Bedford, who was he was Charles Woodson's coach. And he said, man, this coordinator, Jesse Minter, does such a great job of creating confusion.
Yep.
See, because Michigan is not a real big press team. Like, you want to disrupt their timing and disrupt their rhythm, but they don't always get up and press you. They confuse you. And I'll give you one play on my way out. There was the pick on
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I know what he's going to say.
The pick versus Ohio State.
Yep.
The confusion that they offered to the quarterback first, because he's RPOing it. The wheel goes out. He's firing it right away. He doesn't see the safety. But Marvin Harrison, man, as soon as Will Johnson jumps inside, he quits on the route because he's confused too. Like, what the hell? So here you have a coordinator that created confusion for the quarterback and the receiver on that play, creating confusion. That's the kind of thing they got to do tonight. You got to create some confusion to disrupt that rhythm and timing, and I think they're going to do it enough for Michigan to win this game.
And the reason why that's significant, Jesse Minter, he was with the Baltimore Ravens at one point. An NFL mind, understanding that you have to disguise things, move late, and make these young quarterbacks think.
Man, I'm a fan, Harry. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I love that. Sam, thank you so much for joining us and talking a little Michigan football.
AT&T 5G counting us down to kickoff, giving us a look at the Washington Huskies. Look at the fans there. You know, guys, the Washington Huskies have been counted out all season long, but they are 5-0 in the last 2 years as underdogs, and I think there's something to be said for that.
There absolutely is. I mean, how often do we have to say they don't have this, they don't have that, their offensive line, you know, hey, they won the Joe Moore Award, but still there's questions there. The defense not making enough big plays. Doesn't matter. They always seem to come up in big-time situations, and Michael Penix Jr., man, he is the man.
All right, time now for Game Changing Connection presented by AT&T. We're going to look at a couple of plays that sealed the deal for Washington and Michigan in their respective semifinals. And guys, let's start with the heart and soul of this run game. This time it's Blake Corum out of the backfield, though.
Blake Corum out of the backfield right here. Great design, man coverage, slipping him out right there. Linebackers having a trouble of communicating through all this traffic. Look at this play design. The Falcons, we ran this in the Super Bowl right here in the same stadium against the New England Patriots in 2017. We don't want to talk about that game too much, but still, great play design, getting your playmaker the football. This offense is designed around Blake Corum. How he eats is how the offense eats. This guy is a dynamic force.
Yeah, and they do a great job of shifting and then motioning. And then Blake Corum, that was just one of 2 catches that he had in the game.
Yes, sir.
This was a huge 4th and 2 for Michigan to win the game. Blake Corum, this was a 27-yard catch and run. The last time he had a catch of even 20 yards or less was week 2. That was the most yards that he had as a pass catcher coming out of the backfield.
Right.
And that's credit to Sharon Moore understanding, let me get the ball to my most clutch player in the most clutch situation. And by the way, you got Roman Wilson.
What is that?
You're right. You're right. Hey, Roman Wilson's better than that, but still, you know, Sharon Moore, he's thinking players, not plays.
Yes.
And he's trying to make sure that he designs his plays to make sure that Blake Corum is involved in that run game, in that pass game as well.
Speaking of clutch, how about Wilson clutch, Matt? Check this play out by him.
Play action right here to Blake Corum. Low red zone. Stop the run if you're playing against Michigan. Not so fast, my friend. As one of our friends says here at ESPN. Roman Wilson out of the backfield on a Z sneak. Harry Douglas scored a lot of touchdowns in the NFL off of this exact play.
How big is it going to be for Michigan, for him specifically, to show up tonight?
Oh, man. I mean, he has to make impactful plays in this passing game. He had a lot of opportunities against this Alabama defense, and fortunately, Alabama was created enough pressure on the quarterback to really take away some of those big plays. There were multiple plays in that game where Michigan's going to look back and say, we really should have beaten Alabama by 21 points.
Yeah, that's what they were saying after the game. They were really stronger and faster, and they outcoached Alabama, which is why Michigan feels good coming into this game.
That's right.
So that's the offensive side for Michigan. It's been well documented by this point. Michigan's got the best defense, at least scoring-wise, in the entire country. And Jalen Milroe got a heaping spoonful of the blitz from Michigan out in Pasadena. What impressed you most about their blitz for Michigan and how they were able to penetrate and get pressure?
Well, we were on the field before the game. The size of this defensive line, the size of the linebacking core, their ability to collapse the pocket consistently around Jalen Milroe. There was no throwing lanes. It was very difficult for him to dissect what was happening on the back end against that Michigan defense. I expect that again here tonight. Mason Graham, phenomenal football player. Chris Jenkins, his domination at the line of scrimmage. You see Grant right there, 350-pound defensive tackle right there. A lot of big bodies there, difficult to move, especially in crucial run situations, and they can also get after the passer in one-on-one situations as well.
You know, the thing that Michigan did was confuse Jalen Milroe a lot. So you need to understand, coming into this game, you probably won't confuse Michael Penix as much, but what I'm going to do if I'm Michigan, I'm going to try and show him cover 3, but we're really in cover 2. Show him man, but we're really in zone as much as possible, and then bring those pressure from the interior, because Washington has great tackles, but the interior is a spot where you want to attack them. However, the fact that they have so many skilled wide receivers allows them to be in max protection, have 6-7 guys, which is why Dillon Johnson plays such a huge role in pass protection. Great pass protection, Matt. We have talked about this plenty of times.
And you're right. I mean, we're talking about the tackles here, but Derek Moore, Brandon McGregor, that matchup on the outside, can't wait to see that one as well.
All right, let's talk about who you have said is one of the best throwers that you have ever seen in the college game, Michael Penix Jr. I mean, he carved up this Texas secondary.
This is what I love about Michael Penix. His throwing is off the charts good, man. He is the best college football thrower in the history of the game. It's
let him know.
And he's a lefty, my friend. So shout out to my brother and all those other strange lefties out there, because he can sling it. The other thing, too, the belief that he has in his receiving core, right? The ability to give them those one-on-one opportunities. His movement in the pocket, it's like Joe Burrow, but he can throw it like Marino. He can throw it like Elway. He's tough as hell, and he does a great job of creating when things aren't there.
That's a big compliment because I saw your father, Big Phil, say he's literally the best thrower that he's ever seen. And one of the critiques for Penix coming into this season is that he's not throwing his wide receivers open. Well, guess what, y'all? This season, he's throwing his wide receivers wide open, and they can be covered. We saw that against Texas. And it doesn't matter if you have Odunze covered. Penix has the ability to throw the ball in an area that his wide receiver can get it. And the thing about the Michigan DBs that I'll give them credit over Texas is they'll more than likely be able to play through the ball more than Texas did. It's going to be such a fun matchup to watch.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, you got strength versus strength in the championship game. You can't really ask for much more than that. Michael Penix Jr. is certainly going to play a huge part of that. Those were some of the key connections to get both of these teams to the national championship game. It is going to be exciting, that's for sure. We'll send it back down to our other friends, Christine, Harry, and Harry. Guys?
Thanks, guys. I'm just looking at people kind of file in here. And if you look, one half is purple and gold seaming, one half is maize and blue. It's beautiful, right down the middle, half and half. We're live in Houston, Texas, as you know, for this countdown to the College Football Playoff Championship presented by AT&T. The Washington Huskies are preparing to take on Michigan, and we are now welcoming in former Washington cornerback Desmond Trufant. It's exciting to be out here. How big is it for your team to be able to be in the CFP championship?
It's really big. It's been a long time coming. They've been grinding for a long time. We put out a ton of NFL talent over the years, but for it to really come together and they got a great team, I'm real happy.
And as somebody that's from Tacoma, the Pacific Northwest, went to Woodrow Wilson, went to UW, obviously, what would it mean to the Pacific Northwest, to Washington, to Seattle, everybody in that area if they won this game tonight?
Yeah, it'll mean everything, bro. Seattle, Washington, we got great fans. They come out, they support all the hometown kids. They support all the sports. So it's going to be big. It's going to be a parade in the city for sure.
So a big matchup tonight is going to be the cornerback from Michigan, who's about 6'2.5", 6'3", Will Johnson versus Rome Odunze. When you're looking at that matchup, who do you think is going to win that one-on-one tonight?
I mean, I play corner, but I gotta go with my guy. You feel me? He gonna do his thing. I ain't never seen somebody catch so many 50-50 balls in college like him. And you just throw it up there, and usually he gonna come down with it. So I'm hyped for him.
So a lot of people call him Trufant. See, we call him True.
That's right.
Because he was true on that football field.
That's right.
Man, it was an honor to play with you for as long as I did. You're retired now. What are some of the things you got going on in life?
Man, I'm just a full-time businessman now, so I do a lot of real estate. I own self-storage. Just opened an event space called the Sunset Estate. I'm building an assisted living facility right now, and I got a mixed-use property coming too in the waterfront area. So I'm doing a lot of things, man. I made a lot of great moves while I was playing. Now I'm just doing that full time.
Man, let me hold some, True.
Look at you.
Okay, so do you think that the Huskies are going to be able to get it done tonight?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, what I like about it is I like that they got a great defense and we got a great offense.
Right.
So some got to give.
Yep.
So we're going to see. But typically, I feel like when the bright lights turn on, we're going to see who show up. So, but I got my guys. We'll see what they do.
I do want to ask you one more question because you talked about how Washington has a great offense. Obviously, Penix Jr., he's the guy. How do you think that his talent will translate to the next level?
I see an NFL quarterback. I see a star. I seen it last year, because that was really my first time watching him last year. But this year, he took it to a whole nother level, and he's making NFL quarterback type of throws into tight windows, very accurate. So, whoever gets him, they're going to get a star.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be very fun to watch. Now, if he's going to get it done, he has to beat Michigan. Michigan hadn't won a bowl game since 2016, and then they won the Rose Bowl. Take a look.
TCU beat Michigan and J.J. McCarthy. The ending still to be written.
Fought our hearts out. Can't wait to watch the tape, but we'll be back, and I promise that.
7 points is the deficit for Michigan. McCarthy scanning downfield and throws it high, and Wilson's got it. Michigan on the doorstep, and they pitch it to a touchdown as Wilson walks in.
You know, when everyone's tired, when it's overtime, he's going to be the guy that shows out.
Handed to Corum again and makes a cut. Spins and scores. Blake Corum puts Michigan on top.
Everything that we went through this entire year, it made us unbreakable. And the biggest moments, we were going to show up.
Low snap. Milroe stopped. Michigan makes a stand and comes up with a milestone playoff victory.
JJ said it when he walked off the same podium last year. What he told me was, not only are we going to be back, we're going to win.
We'll see if they're able to get it done. We now welcome in Chase Winovich, who may or may not be able to hear me. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're very excited to watch your team play this week, but they were obviously very excited to win the Rose Bowl last weekend. How huge would it be if they were able to win the championship tonight?
Tonight is everything. These guys need to lay it all out on the line. And you know what? Everything this team has faced, all the adversity, all the naysayers, losing their coaches, you know, being suspended, whatever it was, they just got to come through with the dub.
Now, I got to say this. You got your guns out, man. You got your buy. You've been doing your buys and your tries before you came into the stadium today. I got to ask you about this program because you were there 2014 and 2018, right? And you were there right before Jim Harbaugh got there and you had an opportunity to play for him. What's the difference in your football team then and what you're seeing right now, this team that's undefeated with an opportunity to play for a national championship?
2 words, defensive line. The depth on the defensive line now is different than it's ever been. They can roll 4 guys, put them in there, and then sub 4 guys out. And I think that's going to be the biggest tale of the day difference tonight when you're talking about the quarterback like Washington has.
How do you feel like that defensive line matches up against Washington's offensive line?
I think they match up great. I mean, they played the toughest competition in the country with Ohio State and Alabama back-to-back week, or not back-to-back, but pretty much. And, you know, I don't see it being any different tonight. I see that a Washington team, strong, they play to the level of their competition. There's no doubt in my mind that Michigan's going to get the best shot from Washington, but unfortunately for them, if you're a Husky fan, it's not going to be enough.
All right, let's talk a little bit more. Obviously, we're talking defense. Let's talk a little bit more about the offense because we talked earlier in the show about how Harbaugh said that J.J. McCarthy is the best quarterback to come through that Michigan program. What do you see when you watch him play?
I see greatness. I see greatness. That's all I can say. I mean, Coach Harbaugh, he's been around a lot of quarterbacks, going back to Andrew Luck, his time at Stanford. And for him to make a statement like that, you know he means it.
So Chase, there are a lot of rumblings about Bill Belichick potentially not being with the New England Patriots. You were able to play for Bill in New England. What are some of the things that you learned from him?
I learned a lot. First and foremost, when it comes to business, when it comes to life, you know, you talk about like just understanding the strategy behind things, how to put people in the best position to succeed, taking someone's skill set and understand what it is that they're put in this earth to do, that they do best, and putting them in that position. Bill has tailed the tape, best has ever done it. And, you know, Bill's going to land on his feet no matter what he does or where he goes. He's a great coach.
All right, so what are your Michigan Wolverines going to have to do tonight to get a dub?
Once again, comes back to the defensive line. The defensive line is going to have to disrupt the pocket and just mess with the quarterback's movement. You know, he steps in the pocket. You got to have somebody in his face, and it's going to disrupt that. It's going to cause pressure all night long. And Michigan's got the squad to do it. And boy, I tell you what, I'm just excited to watch.
So you think you're walking away with the championship?
I don't just think, I know.
Oh,
what's the score?
24-21.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you heard it.
Chase is now reporting back to the weight room.
I got to get back to working out, but I appreciate you guys having me on, guys. God bless.
Thanks so much, Chase. Okay, so one thing that we've been talking about a lot on this show is the Washington offense, and their wide receivers are a huge part of that offense. Take a look at this.
The Takers is what we call the whiteout group here at the University of Washington.
That's my receivers, you know, those guys that go up and get every ball that I throw.
It's just going at everything aggressively, every single ball, physically taking the ball instead of just catching it and making a play.
Every time they catch the ball, they're going to have a little attitude with it. So they're going to stomp on you, and they're going to bark at you as they're stomping on you as well.
If you want to be a taker, you have to have a dog mentality. And I think everybody has a dog mentality, and everybody's a taker in that receiving room.
I am commandeering this vessel right here, and we're going to talk to you about the big story here, Rome Odunze, and his ability and what he's done this entire season. It's been phenomenal. This guy contested catches. He catches football at a 70% rate. The next highest guy is Malik Neighbors at 45%. That is just astronomical, no pun intended here in Houston. But I just want to get the opinion of my guy, Harry Douglas, our resident receiver. What are your thoughts on this guy, Rome Odunze, and what he brings to the table?
Yeah, Matt, I love his skill set. I love his athletic ability to be able to fight through contact at the top of his routes. There are a lot of DBs that like to tug and pull and grab and disrupt wide receivers while they're on their path to their end point in their route. But for Rome Odunze, he doesn't let it bother him. Also, you look at his contested catch ability. A lot of people call it 50-50 balls. DB, we just had Desmond Trufant on. Well, wide receivers, we call them 100 balls, baby. That means 100% of the time, we're coming down with it. And that's what Michael Penix has in Rome Odunze. He reminds me a lot of Jamar Chase. You look at the lower body strength, the upper body strength, the ability to be able to glide and be smooth in his route running. That's why I like this young man. He's going to make a team very, very happy in the 2024 NFL Draft. Matt, who does he remind you of?
Man, I got to tell you, he reminds me a lot of a young Larry Fitzgerald at Pittsburgh. His size, his frame, his ability to catch those 50-50 footballs in the end zone. It seemed like every weekend, Larry Fitzgerald was catching those fade routes over some DB's head, just, you know, head tapping him like he always did. I didn't see you do that a lot, Harry, when you were playing. We saw Mario Rudia doing that a little bit more in those Louisville days, you know what I'm saying? But I see Larry Fitzgerald, his physicality is tremendous, and the belief that Penix has in him, and Ryan Grubb, his ability to dial up plays for him and create one-on-one situations, I think is what has most impressed me this entire season.
So I think it's simple for me. I got Jamar Chase. You have Larry Fitzgerald.
That's right.
We have a combination, and that's Rome Odunze. Make sure y'all check him out tonight because he won't disappoint. Trust me. Christine, back to you.
Way to come out that tunnel is going to hit different.
What are you bringing to this team tonight?
This is something that you always dreamed of.
This is the situations that you dream of when you're a kid in the backyard.
It's going to be jitters. We're going to be hair standing up like nothing else.
This is it. We're here. Y'all gonna get all of me, man. Come on, y'all, all right?
You hear the crowd, the fans going crazy.
Sometimes I hear my dad's voice.
For a moment there, it's kind of like you don't hear anything.
Anything that I was thinking about before it goes away.
I really feel nothing in a whole nother world.
Take that last deep breath and then boom, there it is.
It's getting ready for war.
It's go time.
Yep.
AT&T 5G counting us down to kickoff, giving us a look. Who's that? Jim Harbaugh making his way onto the bus as the Michigan Wolverines hoping to win a title here tonight over Washington. J.J. McCarthy is going to play a huge role tonight, Matty.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, hey, it's always a huge role when you're a star quarterback at either of these schools right now. So, you know, J.J., what he's been through personally off the field, really excited for him and this opportunity that he has here tonight.
All right, so the fans got the big hats. The Block M, of course. And we also have some big hats up here.
We got some big hats here.
In the 700 level. Matty's going to throw it on here. Let's throw it on. Why not? And we have these big hats because we are going to play a game. By the way, you guys crushed the game out in Pasadena last night.
I can't take you seriously right now with this.
That's right. We're all counting on you, so don't mess up this game.
Right.
We're going to call it Who Has the Edge. I got a couple of scenarios for you guys. Head-to-head matchups in this game, and you are going to put this one forward if you are going to go with the Block M, going with Michigan, and then you can switch it around and go with the Block W if you're going to go with Washington.
Okay.
It doesn't fit.
You know
My
what I'm
head's
going
too
to
big.
do,
But
Sam, I'm going to go ahead and throw on this do-rag real quick and get in my do-rag activity.
Please.
Like Michael Penix, you feel me?
We don't want to mess
do
up.
your thing, brother.
We don't want to mess up the hair. All right, let's start with special teams too here, guys, because both these teams had their fair share of struggles in the special teams game in their semifinal games. Scooby's laughing at my hat because it's so big. But I mean, remember, Michigan had a missed field goal, right? The botched punt. Jerry Bernard also struggled in the game as well for Washington. So who do you give the edge to in this championship game when it comes to special teams, Matthew?
This is a difficult one because both teams really did show some flaws in their semifinal football game with the muff punt. So I am actually going to lean towards Washington in this one. And Gross, the former walk-on, now gets his scholarship after kicking the game winner. We saw that earlier tonight. really think that he will be a big difference for this Washington team, staying on schedule and keeping them in the football game with his ability to kick long field goals.
You going block W or block M, Scoot?
I'm going block W, my boy. You know, when you look back to that game against Alabama, you see it right here, y'all. A muff punt. You can't have that in big games. It led to 11 points for Alabama.
Yeah.
So in this game, when I look at the special teams, I got to give it over to Washington.
I mean, how often do games like these come down to special teams? I mean, it's something that we don't talk about a lot, but it always comes up big in a game like this, and it's a memory that you don't forget. I mean, if you're the one making that mistake.
And listen, if Michigan would have lost that game, that young man would have had to move out of the state. So,
right.
You know, in this situation, my high school coach used to always say, hey, special teams would get you killed, okay? So you got to execute in special teams, all right? So shout out to Coach Stoll and instilling that into me to this day that you got to be great on special teams.
All right, this is probably the matchup of the night, and that would be Odunze and Will Johnson.
Yes.
I mean, these two going head-to-head.
Right.
You're looking at a couple of first-round picks, more likely than not. Will
Someone's
Johnson,
getting paid today, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, right? So who do you give the edge to in that matchup?
Wow, so I have been a huge Odunze fan. You have heard me all year on our digital show how much I love that young man, right, and how good he is. But I am going to go with Will Johnson.
Come on, man.
Right? Why? Because of the rest of the dogs on the defense with him. They're not dogs, they're Wolverines. You ever seen a Wolverine on Nat Geo? Those things are crazy, man. All right, so I'm just telling you, with the help of his teammates, with Jesse Minter calling and confusing Michael Penix, pressuring the quarterback, I feel like Will Johnson will have a better advantage than most other defensive backs that he's seen this year.
Now, the reason why I put on the do-rag at the beginning of this segment is because I want to be picking a lot of Washington when it comes down to this segment. Now, Matt, you have said that the Biletnikoff winner should have been Rome Odunze, and
Yes,
I do say that he is a problem. Now, let's look at a couple of things. A fun nugget that I have for everybody watching the show, when Washington's win probability dipped below 50% this season, Michael Penix Jr. has targeted Rome Odunze 21 times. He has completed 19 of those passes for over 333 yards. So when I look at clutch situations and when I know those two dudes are in the huddle when they're down, Odunze is saying, "Throw me the ball." And Michael Penix is looking at him like, "I got you." So when I got to pick between these two dudes, we're going with Odunze.
I think at this point in the year, they're not even saying that. They're just like looking at each other like, all right, yeah.
We don't talk about special teams a lot. We also don't like to talk about officials a lot, but I feel like the officiating crew could play a big part now. I think you touched on it earlier in the show. You got to imagine that Will Johnson's going to try and get physical with Odunze. How crucial is that matchup going to be in terms of how the officiating plays a role into this game? Because it could be a big factor.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the defensive coordinator for Michigan, if I'm Jesse Minter, I'm saying, hey, we are going to try to be overly aggressive until they say not to, right? So we are going to make sure that we get hands-on, contest catches as much as possible. We're going to push the limits, too, on just getting hits on Michael Penix as well in the pocket.
And you know what's so great about this matchup? Michigan has only been called for pass interference calls twice this year. That is second in the country. However, Washington has drawn the most pass interference calls in the country.
Right.
So it's going to be real interesting. What are the refs going to do? Are you going to call it or are you going to hold that flag? Because we know against Alabama, those refs kept that flag holstered.
We talked about the NFL-style defense that Michigan has put together over the last couple of years. Jesse Minter, just the second guy to come in. We know McDonald came in before him and kind of changed and really built up this defense. Ryan Grubb has put together a ridiculous offense for this Washington team, too. And in many respects, it's like an NFL-style offense. So who do you give the edge to in that matchup? Jesse Minter, Ryan Grubb?
I'm going to go with Jesse Minter, and you're right. We can't forget about the fact that in 21, they brought in Mike McDonald and what he did. And you know what I see out here when we watched the game last week, what I see here tonight? I see the Baltimore Ravens. I see a professional defense out there. I see a defense that doesn't maybe have a lot of superstars, but they have a lot of great football players that play great for each other. And that's where I feel like Michigan has that advantage on that side of the football of being able to corral Penix and Odunze more so than any other team has this year.
Yeah, I would like to agree with you, Matt, but I already told you I'm going to be picking the dub for most of this segment. So I'm going with Grubb in this matchup.
Yeah.
They got a high-flying offense, and the reason why I think this team was able to win the Joe Moore Award, which is for the best offensive line in the country, Ryan Grubb is a guy who has an offensive line coaching background. He used to be an offensive line coach. So when you look at this matchup in terms of KYP, know your personnel.
That's right.
Ryan Grubb knows his personnel really well. And quite frankly, if I'm Washington, If you win the toss, I want the ball first. I want to go down the field, and I want to put the pressure on Michigan. Because when it comes down to matchups, and I said it earlier, they can run a lot of max protection stuff because of the skill sets they have at the wide receiver position. Right. And it's going to be so fun to watch.
I'll tell you what's fun to watch is watching this Michigan marching band out on the field.
Looks like you got the same hat on.
That's right, we do, yeah. No, this is a very organized chaos, as they would say at NRG Stadium here before we get ready for kickoff of the national championship game. We're counting you down, 11 minutes to go. We got another matchup here. I want to see who has the edge on the offensive side for Michigan. You got Sharon Moore, who, guys, had to fill in as a head coach for much of this season for Michigan. And Washington's got not one, but two defensive coordinators. So who do you give the edge to on that side?
Yeah, this is a great one as well. I am going to lean towards Sharon Moore. I think that what he did last week against Alabama, the shifts, the motions, confusing Alabama, not allowing them to play fast, really did a great job of getting people wide open. We spoke earlier on how they missed multiple opportunities to take advantage of those big plays. I don't think that happens here again. I think they will be able to run the football consistently with Blake Corum. I would not be shocked if Blake Corum breaks 150 yards tonight. I really would.
What about what Washington did to Bo Nix? Not once, but twice this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
Bo Nix didn't have Blake Corum in this offensive line.
Fair,
and that's what I'll say in that regard. Now Sharon Moore, what he's been through with this team, it's just unbelievable, the adversity they've battled through. They really have a great identity and a plan, especially these last 2 weeks of the season.
All right, y'all, I have switched the hat. I'm going with Michigan. I'm going with Sharon Moore.
Okay.
And it is so true what you said, Matt. The ability to be able to create those matchups based on your opponent. Now, Michigan is a team that runs 12 personnel about 50% of the time. When they went against Alabama last week, they cut that down in half. About 22% of the time, they ran the 12 personnel. The reason behind that, they felt as though if they had Alabama in the nickel defense, they would be able to move the ball easier because Alabama's got some dudes on that line, right? So Sharon Moore, I got to give him the edge because the fact that he's able to see those things and adjust on the fly is so impressive. We said it earlier in the show, being able to put Blake Corum in space. And think about this, y'all. Washington is 105th in the country in tackling. They are one of the worst tackling teams in the country, and you're going against Blake Corum, a guy who breaks tackles on tackles on tackles. And then when it comes down to first down, you're going to have to be able to stop Michigan. Washington is one of the worst teams on first down, averaging 6 yards per play given up on first down. You do not want Michigan to stay ahead of the chain.
All right, last one. Who has the edge here? Because we were out in Pasadena last week, and it was essentially a home game for Michigan. Who do you think has the edge as far as fans here, guys? I'm seeing a lot of maize and blue again.
Man, it's all Michigan.
It seems like
it's all Michigan. I don't know what they were talking about in the other set before about it split down the middle. I don't see that at all, but maybe I'm colorblind and that's why I don't play anymore.
And we get a feel of it. The cool thing about getting here days beforehand, you see the fans in the hotel, the mall, the restaurants, and I've seen a lot of Michigan.
Yeah, what'd you say? You're like every Washington fan you see about two more from Michigan right after that.
Double them up, baby.
That's
Double them up.
All right, now the Washington marching band has made their way onto the field. We will make our way over to Media Day, or at least some of the fun that they had at Media Day with a mystery box.
Well, I put both hands in there. Oh.
CFP trophy.
All the noodles.
SpongeBob's house.
What is it, Jello? Raisins.
Clay. Yeah.
That's your final answer?
No. I'm so scared, dude.
If I just went in and just went, would I get hurt?
Let me touch it.
It's just the, whoa! Don't rush in on it. Bro, stop!
It's beans.
No, it's a pomegranate.
That's beans.
No, it's not. Beans?
Ooh, let's go.
Beans?
What is that, sushi?
Jelly. Some jelly. Want me to grab it out? I got you.
Stop! I'm scared.
Hand doesn't do it.
What is that? My heart is. Stop! I think it's moving. What is that? I was watching. I'm scared. Stop! Okay, wait. Give me your hand. And then let's do this together. Kelsey.
Trained me to do this.
You're such a liar.
Hey, that was almost as good as the Halloween scare.
Andrew Spencer is here. You're our official CFP digital correspondent. First of all, I thought it was an iguana. I don't know why.
How?
Like something in my mind made me think it was an iguana.
That makes no. Why would you run from an iguana? Like, what is it gonna do to you?
I thought it was an iguana, and then also because me and Kelsey were going at the same time, sometimes I would touch her hand. And then I thought it was moving, but it was her hand. So I was like, oh my God.
Can we also note, Christine's on the team, man. She got that Washington cream hoodie. You know what I mean? Hey, man. Hey, all right.
Yes, I am.
She's in the receiving group.
Yeah, we'll talk about why I'm on the team later. I mean, I am on the team. But welcome. So great to, how fun was that?
That was so much fun. Just to get to be able to interact with those guys. And I know it's a very stressful weekend. So for them to just kind of unwind and just have fun, I'm glad to be a part of that.
What was the worst thing that you had in that box? Why did you make us think that they were literal animals?
You know, I had to put on a little show. I started hissing. Some of the players really thought the snake was real.
I thought it was real.
I know. So, or a real iguana. But no, I mean, I think the worst part was probably the beans. I mean, nobody wanted to stick their hand in beans, but it was pretty safe. You don't want any of the players getting hurt. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did anybody guess the pineapple?
Yeah. Well, he called it SpongeBob's house, so I think that counts.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair game.
Oh, that's what he said. That's what he said. Okay, so you've been doing a lot lately when it comes to the CFP in general. You were at the Rose Bowl last week. You got to be on in the parade, on the float. So how has your experience been? I mean, you've been hanging out at all the events and stuff like that.
Honestly, it's been amazing, and it started with you guys last year. So honestly, you know, you put me on. It's like I'm the little brother, and you know, that mom forced you guys to bring along. So, so I just keep finding myself next to you guys, and no, it's just been amazing, and I'm truly blessed to be able to be a part of it. It's definitely something I've always dreamed of doing. So yeah.
And shout out our boy Rodney, right? He's not here with us.
Shout out Rodney as well. Shout out Rodney.
We got to look out for our own
time. We miss you.
Hey, but so with this game tonight, what are you looking forward to the most?
No, I really am just looking forward to Penix to show what he is. I believe he is the true Heisman in my eyes. So I'm just looking for him to play well. But at the same time, you know, the team. Like Michigan's defense is very stout. So I think this will be tough, but it'll be a really good matchup.
Well, I'm going to say this. Two people for that defense of Michigan, Julian Colston and also Michael Barrett.
Right.
Those guys are really benefiting from the defensive line being dominant, being physical, and open up avenues so they can run sideline to sideline, get downhill, and make plays in the backfield. What are you looking forward to seeing from those two guys in this matchup?
No, I just could keep making plays, keep putting pressure on the quarterback. I think that's the number one thing that helps out these DBs with a great wide receiving core that Washington has, and they love to throw the ball. You keep that pressure on, I think that'll be really good for Michigan. And the cornerbacks, like I said, I heard a stat that they were just talking about. They had like the least amount of penalties. So, I mean, that pressure is a big testament to that. So I think they continue doing that, they're going to be well.
All right, so who do you think is going to win this matchup?
Like I said, I believe Michael Penix is a bad boy, but the team, Michigan has got this in the bag. I'm a Midwest guy, so I need Big Ten to come back and start taking reign again.
So I'm really looking forward to this. Everyone in the secondary for the Michigan Wolverines, when you look at Josh Wallace, Mike Sarenstein, and you look at also Will Johnson, all of those guys going up against that three-headed monster when you see Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, and also Odunze. What are you looking forward to when it comes to the slot matchup of Mike Sarenstein versus a Jalen McMillan? What are you looking forward to between those two guys?
Honestly, I just want a nice, clean, but let them play. I want it to be physical as possible, and I want them to really show their stuff. Like, this is as close as you're going to get to an NFL matchup, and these guys are going to play to the end. So I think I want to see, I want to see them catch a lot of passes. I just be active and be physical. Let them play a little bit. I hope the refs are not a big part of this game.
Yep.
That'll be a really good one. We're very excited about it. So you've got the Wolverines.
Yes.
All right, we'll see what happens. Triple S's, Sam, Scooby Sims, up in the rafters over there. What do you guys got going on over there?
All right, we're almost to kickoff here, guys, for the national championship game, and we're getting ready to make some picks. I mean, we've been bloviating and pontificating for the last week. How about that?
That's a big word, bro. Yeah.
We have been talking about this game for the last week, and we finally get to make our picks for the game. Who will be the national championship in 2024, Scooby?
You know, the last time Michigan won a championship, 1997, but that was a shared title. And then the last time they won an outright title by themselves, you got to go back to the 1940s. To tell you the truth, fellas, I am going with Michigan 32-28. I just think this team is more complete, and they are stronger when it comes down to just the fundamentals of football. I know I've talked Washington up a lot, but I'm going with Michigan in this game.
What do you got, Matty?
Washington Huskies, baby. 35-31.
Oh, so you went with it. Let me tell you something, y'all. Matt was bouncing back and forth trying to decide which team that he wanted to choose.
Who are you to peel back the curtain like that and let everybody know how I felt this week? I'm very conflicted. I'm going with my boy, Michael Penix.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I feel like he'll be able to make the one or two plays that they need to stay in this football game. And I think late they'll be down, and he's going to take them right down that field. He's going to throw one of those dimes to Odunze to get that victory.
Fair enough. I said it last week. I'm going to stick with it. I think boring wins sometimes. And Michigan isn't the most exciting team, but they do everything right, and they don't make mistakes. So I'm going to go with Michigan.
You know what you said, Matt, and I thought it was really interesting yesterday. The thing about Washington is they can get away with throwing the ball literally every single play of this game because that's how dynamic they are in the passing attack.
That's what I'm doing. If we have 60 snaps on offense, we might throw 55 of them, right? I mean, especially with Dillon Johnson. He's been banged up. We know that he's going to try to give it a go tonight, but I'm thinking, Penix, you got us here. Finish the job. Get it done for us.
We've got about a minute left, guys. I just want your thoughts on just the importance of this game as it is and what it would mean for both sides to win a national championship. I mean, the gravitas of this moment is so huge, and it could change these programs and their future outlooks for the rest of time.
Let's remember something, y'all, especially looking forward to next season. This is a Big Ten matchup right now, and we are going to have a rematch of the national championship in October. Now, it's going to mean a lot for both of these teams, especially Michigan, for the reasons that I brought up, but Washington hasn't won a title in a long time as well, and I think these fan bases, it's been a long time coming for them.
Washington, you know, it's just they've been the underdog all year, and it's really, I think, galvanized them as a group. You know, Michigan plays victim all year, especially what they've been through. You know, even though they, did some sketchy things, but still, both teams, I think, have done a great job of just surrounding each other with positive affirmation, man, being energetic about what they're going to do, right, and working together as a brotherhood, as a team. So we really did luck out with, I think, getting the two most exciting football teams in the whole college football sphere.
Might be the last time we see Jim Harbaugh on the Michigan sideline. I'm just saying.
Speaking of brotherhood, guys, it's been awesome being with you guys all season long.
Hell yeah.
So appreciate it. It's been
No
great.
doubt.
Been great to be with you guys.
You're a leader, brother. Thank you.
We will send it down to you. Those are our picks, Christine. What do you guys got?
Wow, that was so cute, guys. It really was. What a beautiful moment. No, that was a beautiful moment. For real, it really was. That was adorable. Okay, so we got one guy choosing Michigan in this matchup. We have to do our game picks now.
We do.
All right, let's start with Lyles. Who you got in this matchup, Lyles?
You know, Christine, I said before the final whistle even blew last year at the championship that this Michigan team was best positioned to knock off Georgia if they both so ended up meeting in this game. Michigan is here, Georgia is not. Michigan has showed all year that they have been the most complete team, will burn you out. This, that, and the third. And I'm still going with Washington.
Ooh.
I can't help myself. I don't feel good about it.
I like the build-up.
But I can't help it. Something tells me pick Washington.
Okay.
You know where I'm going. Look at a guy named Michael Penix Jr. He's balled out all season, but people forgot that he was the #2 passer in 2022. The 2 years combined, over 99,200 yards, 66 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Completed over 66% of his passes in 2023, 65 last year. I'm going with the man that they call Michael Penix Jr. You see this left hand that I got
from
throwing this football?
Tree.
Boom. Michael Penix Jr. is going to do a lot of this tonight, and don't be sad, Michigan fans, if you see Rome Odunze, if you see Jalen McMillan, if you see Jalen Pope, if you see Jack Westover, if you see anybody that can get the ball from Michael Penix Jr. in the end zone. So I'm going Washington.
Okay, so I had to put my iPad down just so I could do this.
Hey!
Because I'm playing big Penix energy, obviously. I made a bracelet for it. Also, again, we're repping the 813. But it's been really fun to watch this Washington team this season. And a lot of people don't watch Pac-12 football, so they miss out on everything that Washington was doing this season. So I think being able to showcase how good they are, we've been talking about the offense all show. What they're being able to showcase on this stage is going to be great, and big Michael Penix fan across the board. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so both of their coaches, Jim Harbaugh and DeBoer, why can't I think of his name? DeBoer sat down with our guy Reese Davis to talk about this matchup and what they like about each other.
Michigan makes a stand and comes up with a milestone playoff victory.
Husky Nation, stand up, man. We going to the Natty, man. Let's go.
When did you first meet Jim? When's the first time you met Jim? Do you remember?
This might be it, in person.
Yeah, we've talked on the phone before.
We've talked on the phone a few times, but
what are those phone conversations like?
I think those are for us and only us. But what I'll say is this: I was sharing with him earlier. You know, I've watched a lot of ball of Coach Harbaugh's teams over the years. You know, NFL, college, it doesn't matter. And there's, I think, concepts we've probably stolen from him. Maybe a few he's stolen from us. But just so much respect for what his teams look like. They're different each and every year, but they're still these qualities of physicality, execution, toughness. You know, you're always taking things from the people that do it at the highest level, and you know, studying those teams. And I've certainly done that with a lot of coaches' teams over the years.
When you watch his path, and you knowing your dad's path too, what impresses you about what he's done to get Washington here?
No job too big, no job too small. You know, whatever it was, anything and everything he could do to help his football team be successful, no matter what that was, he was willing to do it. And you know, watch his career, Eastern Michigan, the MAC, the Big Ten, you know, head coaching opportunity, Fresno, immediate success, and you know, winning with toughness, physicality, tremendous scheme and coaching. You can see the teams connected, and has done that at Washington. I mean, in a very short time.
How will the outcome of the game impact the way you feel about what has been accomplished or what will be accomplished this season, and how you'll feel about this team?
There's an importance to game day. There's an importance to winning, but it's not everything. Giving it your very best is, you know, make sure you give it your very best. That way you'll feel good about whatever you accomplish. Once you're playing, I mean, now you're playing, and that is joy. And you don't have to think about anything else except run as fast as you can, trying to score a touchdown. And I can promise you, there is no feeling like it.
All right, welcome back, guys. Sorry, I didn't know we were going to be back. Okay, so as we look at this matchup, obviously it's a huge one. It'll be huge for both of these programs. But who do you think it means more to if they win the championship tonight?
I said this earlier on First Take. I believe both. Whoever wins tonight, I think it's going to be very meaningful. When you look at Michigan, all the adversity they had to face this year, but remain unified. And it also was a testament to Jim Harbaugh and his teachings and the culture that he's built at the University of Michigan. When you look at Washington and Kalen DeBoer and how he's been able to build this program, and you go to the quarterback position and Michael Penix Jr. and tearing his ACL 2 times, but the way he really galvanized his teammates and the way they believe in him and they believe in one another, I think it'll be meaningful for either team if they won when they win the national championship tonight.
Sure.
I think Michigan fans will tell you for them, because they feel everybody's been against them this year.
Right.
But for a Washington team that does not know or did not expect to be here, perhaps, because they're not one of the elite college football powers, I think it's going to be more to them.
Yeah, I feel like both of these teams didn't really expect to be here, or nobody really expected them to be here when the season started at the beginning of the season. We're not typically seeing these two teams in this matchup, which is why it makes this game so much more exciting. But I do want to talk about, you talked a lot about the matchups that you're looking forward to. What's the biggest one that you're looking forward to on the football field tonight?
Wide receivers of Washington versus the DBs of Michigan. That's it.
Yeah. All right. That's all we got. Asia with the purple fur. See that?
Yeah, sure.
Good. Earlier, somebody asked somebody else if I was singing the national anthem. I could have. I could have.
Either the national anthem or the countdown of New Year's. One of the two. But I love your outfit,
Anyways,
Christine.
Thank you so much. You guys look great too. Okay, so we have a huge championship. I'm going to do what Sam did and just say it's been great working with you guys all season.
Y'all know how much I love y'all, man. Y'all mean the world to me. What it means to y'all preparation. I just love y'all, man. I really do.
Are you going to cry?
No, I'm not going to cry.
Are you going to cry? Are you going to cry? Okay, fine. I won't cry either.
I'm too cool.
Thanks for hanging out with us all season. It's been certainly a blast covering this great sport of college football and getting to hang out with all of you. For everybody behind the scenes, because we did not do this on our own. Chris Colon, our producer. Courtney Andrews is here as well. Everybody that is in the control room, thank you guys for hanging out with us all season long. And yeah, go enjoy the college football game. Thanks for watching Countdown to the College Football Playoff Championship presented by AT&T. You guys, we'll see you next season.